Yo, what up? It's your boy Bobby Sapphire, and I'm here with my best friend and brother for another episode of KTOD Radio, our podcast about competitive Star Wars Unlimited. Let's go down the line. What's up, Justin? Good evening.
What's going on, man? I am morphing into my official beast role of the team.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what does that mean exactly?
Spoiler.
Interesting. And then the mustachioed one, Maddie Gem. What's up?
Another spoiler and another X-Men reference. I am definitely the Jubilee after last weekend. A little aloof, a little goofy, if you will.
Jubes. And then
Jubes.
Stevie Getz with the new do. Where's the hair coming out the side of the hat?
Channeling my inner Professor Numpty, going with the X-Men theme. I did shave this off about 10 minutes ago just for this pod, so TD Tata. Trying to come for you, baby.
Uh-oh.
A new Professor X. I dig it very much. I love it.
Yeah,
Looking
that's
good, Steve.
yeah, we need to
awesome.
get a side-by-side photo of that at Gen Con. We're going to have to reshave you up.
I might dye my hair gray just to see if I can claim Magneto because I'm not feeling
Gray.
that.
Blue.
That bothered
Dude,
me.
the Beast
All
picture's
blue.
so good.
The
For
beast
those of you
picture
that
is so
don't-
good.
You got to go all
Yeah.
blue. I got to say, I was excited that spoilers for the latest episode of X-Men 97, but they put on the old school suits, so Cyclops had the over-the-top hooded costume on at the end of the episode, which was sweet.
That's pretty sick. So for everyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, we're just talking about our Discord banner. We're like the X-Men hyper numpties, you know.
Yeah, Symbiote turned us all into X-Men characters.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about the May 4th weekend results that happened last weekend. Tons of events took place. We're going to talk about some Shadow spoilers. We're going to do the winner of our Metal Fab Tokens contest. We're going to answer some Patreon questions, then talk about upcoming events. Anything else you guys want to add in? Throw it in whenever.
Cool.
So one of the things that happened was that there were a ton of May 4th weekend winners, and we wanted to shout out the people in our KTOD Discord that won some events. Justin, I know you were pouring through this data. Anything in here that really struck you as surprising? Shout out to the 28 people who won an event that are in our
Straight up
Discord that
one,
weekend.
too, not like topped. Like
Yeah,
not
we-
top four. Yeah,
we
had
allowed
more
the
of
one
those, but these are
split.
winners.
At the bottom
Okay.
there, you see George the Hulk and Cult Protocol split
Oh, sweet.
a 12-man. But, you know, these range from different sizes. Like, there's a 4-man draft one. But then we also had, like, the 90-person Minnesota 1K.
Yeah.
Right.
That's, you know.
I just
And
think
you
the
didn't
overall
self-brag about
volume.
yours.
Yeah, the overall volume of winners. I mean,
you did.
28, and if it's both those guys at the bottom, I think are in the Discord. So that would be 29 if they sort of counts as both. But you're thinking about not everybody played. Our Discord is getting massive, but just the sheer volume of winning. And then you look at like Top Cuts from Richmond is, you know, they split their event. So like there's just a whole bunch of value. And then in terms of sort of the energy that went into this, the back end of the Discord, just the sheer volume of like messages going back and forth between people and like communication, like some stuff that we were involved in, but then some stuff that we weren't, right? That just like really pushed it in great places where people were talking about lists that we haven't necessarily advocated for, like, you know, Yellow Sabines, and there's like chatter on that, and there's chatter on like Aggression Sabine, and like we've kind of championed various decks, and we've been big drivers of those, and I'll talk a little bit about the evolution of the Green Sabine when we get to the slide, but there's just so much positive energy. And one thing I really loved was like people being like, great job, and like, oh, you crushed it. Like so much positive energy on the inside of it too, like talking about the results, like coming back like almost from like a Saturday and being like, guys, I won with the stuff. We like, you'd see someone talk at like, you know, 7 a.m. being like, what's my final sideboard card?
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd see a gap, and then like at 8 p.m. they'd be like, guys, I went 8-0, and like that card that you told me was like crushed and I won me the finals. And it's like, oh my God, like this is fantastic.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
What did
some-
I
really
say?
cool to see.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
wanna
Steve.
Go, Steve.
We're-
Yeah, go, Steve.
What did I say 2 podcasts ago? Don't be a numpty. Sign up for the Patreon. Win a tournament. Nice to see 28 people listen to me at least.
At least.
Everything
Seriously.
Steve has said has come to fruition, by the way. He's somehow like telepathically seen what everyone's thinking. I don't know
He's
how
plugged
he's
into
developed that
Cerebro,
power.
apparently.
Dude, it's when he went to Italy. He got ahead of the time zone, and he's just
Wait,
been,
hold
He's
on.
been in the future every.
What if
Oh,
Tata
good
is
call, man.
morphed what if Tada is morphed into Professor
Oh
X
my God, Steve was Professor X the whole time.
the whole
Oh my
time?
God.
Oh my-
All right. Yeah, just going off the positive energy Discord thing. I know, like I typed in on Friday night into the Boba Fett, the mono yellow Boba Fett thread, like who's on this tomorrow, and I sent everyone who was on it, who said they were on it, like a DM with like all the final decisions because I hadn't like really picked a sideboard and stuff. I thought that was really great. George ran that Thrawn swamp deck. I think they also had they turned that Vader thread, the Vader blue thread, into like a boba yellow thread, which is what
Blue boba, yeah.
a blue boba thread.
Boba.
Sorry,
Avenger still in the mix type of thing.
and that's what Guy ended up sleeving up for the prestigious online tournament Top Cut. Which we'll get to later, but just like the evolution of these threads turning into different decks, and you see that if you check out George's Thrawn blue list, that looks a lot like their Red Vader one, but with the yellow tricks. So yeah, all in all, just shout out to everyone who was able to chime in and tell us how they did. We're going to talk about some specific events, but did you guys want to call anything out generally about the May 4th weekend? There were a ton of events. Like this is just a small portion.
One that I think stands out to me is the one in Connecticut, the 1K.
There we go.
And just like the dominance of Mike in that event, and
There we go.
just how I've said this in multiple places that like you maybe broke the format with this deck because I don't see too many weaknesses in attacking it. Like it's got a lot going on, not to reference a ton of other games, but like it's got some Delver vibes about just how strong it is. And shout out to you to really kind of like not swerving, because I think I believed in it and I kept losing to it in testing, but there's also like, you're sure you're doing
there was a lot of that energy in the Discord that week, especially since I wasn't playing a lot. I think I had been locked in on this maybe on like Monday or Tuesday, and then I just said like, I'll be opponents for people all week, just tell me what you want to play. And then people are like, oh, do you want me to get some games for you? And I was just like, nah, I'm good. I felt great.
In early.
I locked in early. I loved this deck. The only decision thing that I really couldn't figure out was the Swoop Racers main or the Jabba's main. And I talk about this a lot in my videos, just that like I don't really think like the list could be anything up until you have to register for the tournament. So like I tried a lot of different things. Pirated's in the sideboard. I tried like a whole bunch of different stuff. So it ended up being
get your 58 cards in, and I think then you get your 58 card deck list in, and you're good to go.
Yeah,
right?
Jabba was the game winner. Jabba Surprise Strike won it all. I get the big booty.
That's true.
My favorite thing to say.
Yep. Jabba with the Surprise Strike was the game winner in Game 3 of the finals.
That's sick.
I kind of discovered this when I was turning the corner in Florida with my Green Boba deck and realizing like, okay, I'm pretty close to dead, so I need to get them dead really fast. And I realized how quickly I could do that with Green Boba and Surprise Strikes. And then the other thing that I noticed, and I'm sure a lot of people noticed, but people were sending me the greediest lists with like 15 off aspect cards. And I'm thinking, if these people are playing a quarter of their deck, more than a quarter of their main deck, with like all these like paying 6 for their double mode cards,
Arc or something.
Yeah, why don't I just go super low to the ground and play super clean and get the Cunnings out for 4? And yeah, it worked out great. I played it like an aggro deck, and the other thing that I wanted to mention was that like I had the perfect weekend for it because not everyone knew that this was an aggro deck. People didn't realize that that's what I was doing.
How fast you can do it.
Yeah, and I remember Wu specifically being like in playtesting that week saying like, oh, this deck makes you feel like you're safe.
It totally does.
Yeah, only like from your point of view it does, but from me I was like, you were always dead, because I know the
you never
plan,
had your car.
But you never had your car. So yeah. It
like with
feels so
playtesting, it's like as Sabine, you're at like 4, and like 3 of those are self-inflicted, and like you got them to like 11 or 12 damage, and like after playing it like 5 or 6 times, I'm like, yeah, let's just scoop it up. Like I'm not gonna get there. Like it's going into 5, and like I'll see like a Cunning or like just the sequencing of the way it works, and you just know you're not gonna be able to get that last damage, and there's just nothing to stop the continued threats that pop in. And I think it's the beauty of this deck is like you've got the aggression like the same way that a Sabine has, but then you've got like like if I was like, okay, cool, Mike's deck's actually an aggro deck, right? Like aggro mirrors. Someone realizes that they take the control route and wins because they understand like that like in-game stuff, right? Like we've talked about that a lot as Sabine, like using ECL to pull ahead. But like your deck has fire spray. So I don't really want to delay the game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like and you have Bosk and you've got like you've got 9 bounce spells. You've got
9 tappers, 9 bounce.
9 tappers. Like, I'm gonna play around the bounce. Well then like No Good to Me Dead is like just such a blowout. So it attacks from so many angles and it just plays like such aggression. And then you've got like Bodhi, like Cunning Discard, you've got ways to gain card advantage with Jabba, you've got Ambush. Like this deck really has it
has a
all.
lot
And the
of
30
tools,
and the
yeah.
30-point base is just really brilliant too.
Yeah, I tried it with the 25 and was losing to Sabine's, but this deck has kind of spoiled me on the whole set. Like I don't really want to play anything else, and I don't think I'll find anything as good as this. And when I play other decks, I'm kind of just wishing that I would just be playing this.
Right.
And I'm not usually like that. I usually like if I do well with a deck, I like to move on and try other things and keep it in my back pocket. But this is, it's kind of a combination of not having anything to play for currently, and just
Right.
feeling like I'm in a really good spot with this deck and like understanding how it works.
Yeah, Cunning seems pretty broken. You can get really aggressive. You can disrupt their hand when you need to, and like, there's just a lot of tools available. Like, I think this is in a good spot. I think that was a great pick, Mike.
Thanks.
Sure.
I did want to shout out that we had a great team showing at that 1K. I don't know if you have any slides for that, but it was.
No, I don't have one here, but me and Chrono were the final 2 5-0s. We had 5 of 8 of us in the original top 8, or 6 of 8 in the top 8.
6 in the original top 8.
6 in
Oh,
the
boy.
original top 8.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Someone's got to keep you out
wait.
again, Manny?
I think I kept myself out. So for everyone who doesn't know, I hit the 8th seed on the number with breakers. I went X2, losing to the guy who came in second place, Josh, and a newer player, but he made the top 8 too, Sabine player. And I get my top 8. I submit my deck list. We're taking our photo. And on my deck list, I forgot to put down Aztec Gunship, and because it was open deck list. That's an illegal deck list, even though I had a legal deck, and so I got disqualified. So that was kind of a tough pill to swallow after grinding in and getting on the 8th seed. But it was quickly washed away. Yeah,
it's a weird one.
Sorry.
No, go
So
ahead.
you didn't present the deck list until the top 8?
No, that's the problem. We had to present deck lists every round of Swiss. Most events aren't like that. So because Matt presented a 58 card list every round, he basically was like hiding 2 cards from his opponents.
Yeah,
If
like
we-
they didn't.
Yeah. If we didn't have to present deck lists until top 8,
Then it's just
they
an
would have
error.
just been like, maybe they give him a game loss. Maybe they only give him a warning. In Magic, it would definitely be a game loss. In Destiny, it was a game loss. But like you didn't get disqualified on the spot. You didn't lose the match. You basically would have had to start the top 8 with a game loss. But
Yeah.
because
I guess-
Go ahead.
I get that, but like, so none of your opponents all day noticed?
No, and I even was talking to one kid about my deck list, and I talked about the gunship. So I don't know. It was just an oversight. It was just a complete goof up, but like totally understand that they had to do that. It stunk, but I think it was the right decision, even though it definitely sucked.
It stings. It's kind of good that you didn't go like XO though. Like you were
That's what I
already
was
on
saying,
it. You were
yeah.
already the bubble boy, so you're kind of already like had that. Like, you could have got 9th.
Yeah. Yeah,
and been
and
like,
then it
oh,
would've-
that
yeah.
Yeah,
stinks.
you
It
must
had a
have felt pretty
similar
lucky just to be
feeling.
the guy who got the breakers on the
Yeah,
4-2s,
I mean,
'cause there were
losing
so
to the
many.
people
There's
I
only
lost
one
to, I
4-2 that made it also, right?
Yeah, I think we have 1 or 2, probably just 1. But yeah, I mean, I lost to 2 people who made the top 8, so I felt pretty good about my run. Made a mental error. So the lesson is
Right.
have your friends check your list.
Yep.
That venue even said
Gotta do
like
the
you
old
can ask
swap,
them.
man.
Yeah,
We used to do
so
that.
just
Always.
just have someone check your list. Stinks I made that goof up, but Mike took it down, so I didn't feel too bad. But so we would have had 6 of 8. We still had 5 of 8 in the top 8. It was
That's
pretty
really
good
impressive.
KTOD showing. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. So I played Blue Han, by the way. It was sweet.
Yeah, and you're going to do a video this week about it?
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
Cool. All right. So Richmond 4K winner. They split the top 16, and then everyone left except for a couple people who played out.
They split the top 8. They didn't
top
split
8.
the top 16.
Okay,
They
split
played
the
the
top
first
8.
round, and then they split the top.
Yeah.
And then 4 people left, and then the rest of the 4 kept going. And this was the winner. Speaking of greedy decks, just casting that. I mean, I guess there's only a few decks you really need to cast the Spark of Rebellion, but they, Saz, I don't know, his name's Jeff in real life, I think, but went the mono blue route to cast those Vigilances for 4. But this is like, a pretty spicy mono blue control list, I would say.
Yeah, I've been trying it out, and I mean, I get why Spark's in there. It's for that late game control mirror to hit their restocks and stuff. But like, I've actually been, I mean, maybe because I've been casting Vigilance for 6 for all these months, but like, it felt pretty good. And like, I'm starting to view I'm Your Father later in the game as like an open fire that maybe, well, I mean, it's better than open fire, but it's like a 3-cost removal spell. And if they goof up and give you the cards, like you have so much stuff that you can stabilize with because you get all that healing. So it's a really cool innovation, and I've had fun testing it out.
Yeah, the sparks look really weird at first. Then you realize like the structure of the game, like you can just resource them against every single matchup, except when you need them in the mirror. So that's pretty interesting. We've seen that some other places with like Bodhi in blue decks, like blue villain decks playing Bodhi, and just different angles there and how to sort of gain that upper hand in these mirrors, because the deck is really redundant with its like removal. To that point, like, hey, we're gonna play. One thing I've thought about too with I Am Your Father, Maddie, is like if they say draw 2 cards, that a lot of these times that if they do that, then you can play like a probe droid and an entrenched on the next turn, because you can do 2 things, so you don't actually lose. You just like actually are up a card. Especially with like the red versions where you have physical choke or force choke, whatever it's called, a 2-cost card and entrenched. Like you get both those, and it's like you're kind of actually up now. And then obviously it gives you the opportunity to draw a 6/6 Charleston.
Yeah, the only thing I'm a little dubious of is needing the 3 sparks. Like I don't know if you need all 3, but I guess like it's a meta call, right? Like if you're expecting a lot of control, maybe you do want them, but that's probably not how I would build it, considering what I expected the meta to be that weekend.
With the 3 tutors also.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, definitely a meta call. But yeah, that's 6 for that is pretty hefty.
I've gone pretty deep in the exploration of like how to navigate the mill mirrors, and like Spark, playing expensive Sparks is up there with some of the things you can do, or potentially even swap to hero because you just get the Sparks and they don't cost that much. But the removal package in the villain is just so good right now, especially with the Super Laser Blast. So I'm excited to see if we get anything even resembling a board wipe in the second set that a hero can play.
Yeah, you'd hope it gets a little evened out, or at least like I know people were talking about like a one-sided one. Maybe they get like one of the you choose one or something.
Yeah, you choose an arena.
Just something. Yeah.
What do you think that would cost?
Yeah, cool
5?
deck.
5.
Knowing this game, probably 6.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty strong.
Yeah, with ramp 5 happens really fast.
Yeah, 6 or 7, I'd say. And yeah, especially with the new. I know we're going to talk about spoilers, but like ramp is going to even get, I think, crazier with like the bounty and
Yeah, potentially
stuff like that.
All right, so Justin, this is Savvy Blue's copy of the KTOD innovations that you made last week for the Sabine list, and Ryan Stanisluski also won his event with the same list. I chose this one because it didn't have the ongoing deck link at the bottom. But shout out to, there were 3 I think that won with this list, and then 3 guys top 16'd Richmond with this list too.
Yeah, so identical list, maybe like 1 or 2 difference in the sideboard, but the main was identical. There were 3 copies in Richmond, just like exact 50s. So this was really cool. So for the Patreon members, I dropped a video on the Discord on Monday, basically focused on like what Sabine should look like for the May 4th event. So really like detailing like the avenues. And on the last slide, it was like, and it did not have Admiral Akbar, and it was pretty similar to the list that we sent down to Florida and then I won the case tournament with. But it was sort of like, hey, here's a few changes, but and it had way more Dodonna for the mirror. I think that was my big innovation. I'd switch my Dodonna and Bright Hope numbers, which you can see here is 2 and 1. But I was like, Akbar, I could see him being really good. Like these Gamma guards he's pretty good at, and he's good in the mirror, and like he can kill a Greedo, and he can do a lot of things. So one of the things that happened this week is we ended up having a Green Sabine channel. and just like had a whole bunch of chatter. And then on Friday, I was like, here's the list that everyone should play. Tada posted his, and I was like, no, you should be doing this. He had like 2 Metal Sermon. I was like, you absolutely can't do that. Like Akbar's been really good. You should play 1-on-1. Like I had the 3 Dodanas and 0 Bright Hopes, but then that was like feedback from the community of like, no, like the 1 Bright Hope actually does sort of work. We need it at times. Like we can sort of have the Dodanas is as a 2's enough. Still the 3 R2s and just the general structure of the deck's the same. But it was great that we like everyone kind of locked in. We had 1 Spec Force soldier. We had dropped heroic on the video. I had like dropped my heroic numbers like down. But then like midweek, I was like, actually, heroic is sometimes better into these sentinels because you can actually like draw a card and like the gambos will, if you just like play the Spec Force soldier and like alpha, like think about your deck, Mike. Like if you just play the Spec Force soldier and like alpha into their base, like yeah, they're gonna tick up on damage, but then the gambos is gonna come back and
Yeah.
and wreck face, and even the green one, it's even worse because it's a barrage for 6.
Yeah.
So actually, like if you can just heroic it, or Akbar kills it in a 1-shot with Sabine, and then you can think about Fleet Lieutenant and also Wing Leader. So there's a lot of avenues, and then like heroic with like a cheap unit. So there's a lot, and now with Akbar, like the gamos, you were able to sort of get around and go into 5 without using your ECL to kill and still holding up steadfast. So it was really exciting that this energy resulted in 3 top 16s at the 5K and then 3 wins, and that was like everyone was in that chat at the end of that night being like the list was absolutely fire. So Tada top 16 only lost to the 50 card mirror, like another Patreon member in the first round, then lost another mirror. It was a slightly different type of mirror. I don't think this deck lost too many games on aggregate last weekend at all. To non-mirrors. I mean, I was hearing like, I crushed this, played all the controlled matchups were really easy once again, like Bright Hope's doing what it needs to do. And then the chatter of like how to sequence things on the back end of it, like how to play your Bright Hopes to sort of force, the swerve. We talked about that in the video, the mid-game lane shift being how you beat like Green Boba really consistently. That was sort of pre-Gamo Guards, but now having an answer to Gamo Guards, it was like we evolved through it, which was really great. And I was really proud of this evolution. I didn't play. I wanted to play. I had this ready to roll, but I decided to take the weekend off.
Yeah, I actually really loved the Akbar. When I tested this all week to kind of like help out with the team in case you went. I know Chrono was going. Maddie hadn't picked a deck yet either at the point, and I liked even more Akbars, especially since like going up on the R2D2 numbers. So I think
Need
he's
more
really
Akbar.
good. Yeah, need more Akbar.
Yeah, we were talking about Akbar. Just like people were like posting their Akbar stats. Like one guy was like, "Yeah, Akbar for 6," and that was reflex. And then another guy was dead on board and ECL'd Akbar to not be dead on board because it has Restore 1.
Killed something
and he killed something and then like had the next action to like win the game or something had because he killed it. It was sequenced so that he was able to like top deck a Rebel Assault. I'm not exactly sure how that went, but just some really cool things. And also, it's just like fun to play Akbar. Like.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
It's just fun, like innovating there, right? Like you're playing someone they're playing, and they think they've got like the general new structure of like the new tech and to go faster, and it's like, oh, Akbar, you guys have evolved even further. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I love that Akbar is a card that probably all of us at some point were like, Akbar and Sabine, get the hell out of here. And then I love Sabine's ability to innovate and like revisit those cards that like weren't good at the time but are good now when we can figure out why. So yeah, I think this deck innovates so well, and I'm glad I have it fully hyper because like it's a deck that I'm just gonna keep returning to like as long as it's legal.
Right, pretty sick.
Yeah, it ain't going anywhere.
Yep. Any other Sabine thoughts before we move on?
No, the only thing is I think I'm gonna on the back end I'm gonna continue to try to post updates. I think like there's this list right now, like it was good for last weekend, but there's starting to be some real boogeymen for it, right? Like your deck is a challenge. I think some of the Hans are really challenging for it. And also just sort of the texture of the deck. Like people are gonna see that Metal Ceremony coming a little bit more. Like you're not gonna have just like, oh, the game's over on turn 3. I've dumped my hand and they're like sitting back with their Boba deck confused why they lost. I think there's going to be a little bit more textured play is going to be needed, and these card slots are going to matter a little bit more too. So it could be troubled seas ahead, even though it's such a powerful deck. I could see some pathways ahead that could be tough.
And if you're not a subscriber, know that we are going to be posting, like I did a deck tech video for subscribers on the yellow boba. You're doing updates on these, and we're going to release those to the public after a couple of weeks so people can see what we have to offer beyond simply a Discord, in case there's any interest in that down the line. And then I mentioned this briefly earlier, but I wanted to see what you guys thought about about Guy's blue Boba Fett deck, which is an interesting port of their control shell into Boba for the most prestigious online deck list.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool innovation. One card that I've tried this out as well, and I mean, I like, Bounty Hunter Crew, getting back your stuff. I like that Boba comes out earlier. He's statted up way higher than anyone else that comes at 5. There's a lot of cool things you can do there, and then like sometimes you get to this, like, you stabilize a little bit. You're waiting on their draws, and you have the freaking mining tie sitting there and drawing cards, and like you don't have, because you draw 2 a turn, like you don't have to draw that many times with it to like get stacked up again.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
It's a really cool late game card after you've like kind of stabilized and you have to hold removal up, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm just going to spend 1 on this thing, and then I'm just going to keep drawing while I hold up my removal, and it makes it reminds even more than Inferno 4, this guy feels like the Augury Owl kind of thing. For Magic, where you're just like, all right, I'm just going to keep all my resources available in case I need to kill something, and I'm just going to peck away at you with this Mining Guild fighter who's also drawing me cards. So it's really cool.
Yeah,
that was similar to the principles on R2, where it's like, do they really want to kill him? He doesn't draw a card, but he's able to, kind of draw cards for a deck like Sabine.
Right.
This is sort of the because Sabine can sift and find its burn spells, and it's like turn 5 it doesn't want a Alliance X-Wing, where like this deck just wants cards. Like it's just gonna want to.
It doesn't care what it gets. It's gonna play. Right.
And because Mining Tie costs 1, like it can get dropped anywhere. Like okay,
literally.
Power the Dark Side, I untap 1. All right, I'll throw my Mining Tie on. You're not worried about it. Like
now it's online,
setting you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the removal Boba Fett Greedo thing is pretty cool.
Yeah. Your hyper Mining Tie stocks are going up, folks.
Yeah, I gotta check.
Yeah, fun deck. I love the innovation.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it out. I haven't gotten a chance to try it. I've been making too much content.
And good on them for like, because this was a hard one. I think we all probably looked at it like, oh, Vader blue. Now what's like Boba blue? But like they didn't use Chilston. They understood like there's too many cunning cards that are just like have like such high value, like Slay, like what? There's a lot of cards that aren't in this deck that like could be, right? Like a lot of blue cards. Chilston, you could put all different types of stuff, and it's like they figured out the avenue that they wanted to be on. Like Bosk is a card that like they clearly thought out. Like okay, on the resource 5, we want to kill something with 4 toughness, and that's just like a non-negotiable for us. And then like his ability probably like on the back end of that, like that frees up Boba Fett, and then.
Yeah,
that gives you
3
resources.
With a waylay, a Power of the Dark Side, and make an opening.
Make an opening does 4 now.
Yep.
Like that's so insane. Like,
what's faster to end a freaking game as a control deck than a fire spray?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's such a good game ender.
Right.
It comes in like and an exhaust. Like that's another thing. As I was playing a game against somebody, and it was like tapping things down. I was like, oh my god, this is even more broken than I thought.
Yeah.
The Broodmate Dragon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool list.
Yeah. Super cool.
All
I love to see what those guys are doing.
Now we're going to take a look at some spoilers for the new set. We're going to play a little game of good, bad, or broken. So we're going to go through a couple of cards that have been spoiled in the last few days, and I'm going to ask you, numpties, is this card good, is it bad, or is it broken? So we've got Bosk, leader, flips on 5, he's a 4/6. He pings to do a damage for unit with bounty. What I love about Bosk is that when he has this ability, he can do it. He can buff your guys if you want, if they're bountied, by giving it +1/+0 for the phase, or he can be killing the opponent's bountied units. And then when he flips, he's a 4/6 Underworld bounty hunter. And when he collects a bounty, he collects it again. Once per turn.
care.
Bounty's so nice, he collected it twice.
Yeah. I don't care how good bounties are going to end up being. I don't see him being that great.
So your vote is bad.
My vote is bad.
All right, bad. Got it.
It hurts. So obviously, like I think limited is going to be really strong, but even like he does pique my interest in Premier because like I mean, he's not as good as Boba as like a 4-7 that comes out on 4, but like 4-6 on 5 like is a good stat line. And like with some of those bounties, like you can kind of play like say you want to be control like that the healing bounty like can't like you could heal 12 like
12,
that's kind
yeah.
of nuts. The ramping bounty. I mean, again, he costs 5, so like maybe you're not ramping, but like that's kind of insane too. You can have
But
like a crazy with the
you could play
you
with a
could,
crazy
yeah.
late game.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is like a lot of I think he'll be like, if he's good, it'll be for like a short period when we have 2 sets, but like as there's a million leaders a game. But the other thing is with the yellow bounty, he could have like an insane Boba flip turn with Wanted. He kills something, he like boss the unit for 5, untap 4. Like you can do some stuff here. So like I'm gonna go on limb say I think he's pretty good.
Oh.
I think he's good. I think I mean,
Come
like,
on, you guys really gonna 3-1 me here?
I haven't said
I think
anything
he's
yet.
good. Like, I think he's reasonable if the bounties
Reasonable
aren't
and
even
good are
that
2 different
great.
things.
Like,
You think he's gonna
like,
win tournaments?
I just think black red like 5 cost leader in that combination, like you can now move him with ECL and like you could do steadfast battalion with him like in a different way, but still play like open fire and stuff like that. That to me is like sort of like the tempo aspect, and then you get to play whatever rare bounty is like really, really good. Like you can play like there's a lot of really good red cards that like Boba can't play. Like the TIE fighters, just like the Inferno, the 6 cost card, the flyer.
Ruthless Raider.
I'm
yeah.
interested in
And like
any five resource flip guy, especially
That's
with
sort of where
some
I'm at
health
with
that
it.
can live. And like red has
He's
kinda,
like a villain Chirrut. He's like a villain Chirrut, kind of. Like he kind of enables like that type of deck, maybe that mid-range deck.
Yeah.
It's not Boba.
Red Yellow Temple. Like look at all those bounty hunters. Like
Oh yeah, and
You can-
underworld
you-
cards
you
and
can-
McClunky.
yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, it's going to be hard for me to not see how insane yellow continues to be, but I think
Yeah.
this guy has potential to be broken. So I'm going to say he's good, but I'm going to reserve a spot for it. I need to revisit once we see all the bounties.
Yeah.
He's
We'll
probably
see
going
how
to be
many
like,
tournaments
yeah.
this thing wins.
The legendary bounties. What do they look like? What are
It's
they
going to be
priced at?
dope. And look at that. He's going to be good in limited, and like he's going to have a chance to do some tempo-y things in Premiere. But there's so many more leaders left.
So they're not going to all be red villain, but like there have been some spicy red villain reveals the
This
last
thing is
couple days.
dope.
So like I have to keep them coming. The punishing one, Dengar's Jump Master.
Sick.
It's a 3/4 underworld vehicle
3/4.
transport. When an upgraded enemy unit is defeated, you may ready. This unit uses this ability only once each round. An upgraded unit is anything with a shield, anything with an experience token, anything holding an upgrade card,
Like a bounty.
or a bounty. Yeah, and including a bounty, but can be like a weapon, just to like if you're not visualizing it. So this thing can be readying itself even if you're not playing bounties. Just if someone has a shield on them or an experience counter. There's so many upgrades here that like it's got to be fairly easy to do this, and it's a 3/4 for 3, which is a rate that we don't see very much.
Yeah, that's the
at
kicker
all
there. I
in
think it's
space.
it's good. This card can't be bad. I
And
think
it's an
it's
uncommon.
very good.
Mhm.
It's very good. I mean, just the stats alone. It's the Falcon without it's like a similar to the Falcon. I mean, it doesn't come into play ready, but it can.
It can.
And then doesn't have the upkeep. It's like, boy, the Falcon's such a strong card. Obviously, you need to ready it.
And I love
but
the
I think
duality
this is a
with
good one.
Dengar and Han were rivals in the old Legends
Yeah.
canon. So like I love that they kind of mirror each other here.
Can I
Yeah, I
change
mean,
my vote on the last one now?
No,
Didn't know about
it's
this
locked
card.
in. It's locked in. Sorry.
I mean, if you think about it, if you bounty something and
Yep.
use bot, like if you bounty their 2-drop and it has 2 toughness, boss can just kill it and then you ready this right away. And it
Yeah,
just attacks.
or like whatever you had on your 2-drop, and we're gonna see in a few minutes. Like there's free bounties, so you can be running this stuff like pretty cheaply. I think this card is broken personally.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
I'll tell you one thing that's really cool. Talks about the complexity of the game. Like right now, self bounce isn't really that much of a thing. Like you're very infrequently waylaying yourself,
Yeah,
your own units.
but wait for
now
McClunky.
it's like, well, McClunky's a totally different animal because it has value. But like you get bountied, and that's like their whole game plan. You're like, all right, I'll waylay my card. Like that's fine.
Right, but like that. So like that's fine, but like, why aren't we I just can't find a reason to not be in McClunky. That's all.
McClunky's pretty sweet.
It's insane. I think it's going to be
Jabba.
a truly insane card.
Jabba just McClunkying himself all over and over and over.
Yeah. So you guys are all, at least this is good. Anyone else on the broken train?
Broken.
I mean, I don't think it's broken because when I think broken, like outside the like rules of the like NPE was it not play environment or whatever?
It's gonna be banned. It's this card.
But I think it's an insanely good card.
It's on the edge. I think it's gonna be broken. I think it's gonna be played a shitload. I think it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be busted. I don't think it's gonna break the game.
It's gonna be played a lot
in like the literal sense of the term, but like in the hype sense of the term, I think it's broken.
Weep.
All right, everyone's favorite Star Wars character, Rose Tico. Shielded 2/6 4-drop, heroic vigilance. On attack, you may defeat a shield token on a friendly unit. If you do, give 2 experience tokens to that unit. So she can do it to herself with the very shield she came into play with. You can put more shields on her. She can do it for another shielded unit. Blue obviously gets a lot of shields. What do you guys think about this card? Good, bad, or broken?
It's good. I don't think it's broken.
Yeah, I think it's good. I was really hype about it at first, and then I'm just thinking like, if you don't like give it a little help, like it could feel a little bit like that's playing a forge. Yeah. No, like Luke can do it. The Force is with me with like a Force unit. Like there's a lot of things to play with it, but just like stat it out. I need to affect the board right away. Dropping a 2/6. Like into Mike's Malakuki world, into his
McClunky.
Yeah.
Whoa, she survives 3 McClunkies.
Dude, but like, I think she's good, but I think the tempo nature of the game ahead of us is gonna have her.
You could ECL her, and she's a 4/8 or whatever. But
that's pretty dope. I think she's good. I'm just saying, like contextually, I think those types of decks could struggle with the way that we are seeing things go.
Yeah,
but I think on surface level, very good.
That's a concern I have
limited
with bomb. Like just bounty decks in general. Like how much time do you have to set up? But I'll say this, like Steve, if we're talking about like breaking things, like this is an engine that like if there is some kind of shield engine that you can create for your deck and she's churning shields into experience tokens over and over, like I think that can be really insane, especially if you're doing things like giving her ambush or untapping her with some other card. You know what I mean? Like who knows what's available, but we have seen untap effects. So anything that can like let you build an engine around shield generation, I think like this card has a lot of potential to be broken for sure.
The potential's there.
What if there's a card that lets you like double trigger your on attacks?
Frontline shuttle. Let's go.
Yeah. So anything,
all our frontline shuttle enthusiasts.
Yep. So anything that like you can build an engine around, maybe it'll just be a Twin Suns hero, but I think like if there is a format where you can create that engine, that she could be really dumb.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Can you guys explain something to me for one quick sec?
Yeah.
I haven't been keeping up with the Discord. What the heck is a McClunky?
It's a card. It's a
really?
Yeah. It's a 1-cost trick that bounces a guy to your hand, and if he's an underworld unit, you deal 3 damage to another unit. So you bounce.
Do you want to give the backstory to Steve on why it's called McClunky and Maddie? Because I don't think Maddie would know.
No, I have no clue.
Sometime, like I don't remember when it was, but it was like 10 years ago, before George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney. He was doing edits on his own, just like sitting at Skywalker Ranch, like making edits. And he used some dialogue from, or some Huttese dialogue that had been recorded by the Greedo actor way back when. And he added it to the Han who shoots first scene. Because he was he was fixing the scene so that Han shot first again. But he made it so Greedo says McClunky before
like
Han
right before
shoots
he dies.
It's just like a close up of Greedo's face saying McClunky, and then Han shoots him.
And then just getting
and
blasted.
It's a line that's actually said in Phantom Menace, so it's like actual Huttese for like I'm gonna kill you or something. And it's become a meme because when the Star Wars got released on Disney Plus in 4K, that was the first time anyone had seen this cut. And so like everyone was watching it for the first time and being like, "What the hell?" And yeah, so then it just became a huge meme Because
no
and
idea.
also the caption said McClunky like phonetically, like MACLUNKY, and it was just the most stupid line ever. But like they changed the lettering, so it's like MA space CHOUNKEE or something.
Oh, I never knew that. That's pretty cool.
That's your Star Wars fact of the day.
So what's our verdict? Good?
The more you
Or
know.
is someone saying broken?
broken?
Broken.
This card,
I'll say good
I
with
think-
with big potential.
I think it's
I'll
probably
side with-
bad
I'll
unless
side
they
with
break
Mike
it.
here.
I think
yeah.
bad. I don't think this
Yeah,
card's
I
gonna
think
do it.
bad, but like out of all these, it's the one that could actually break the game.
Yeah.
All right, price on your head. I wasn't going to do this one originally, but ramp is pretty important. So, is this a good ramp card? It costs 2. It's a bounty, and it says put the bounty that you collect is put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. So you could play this on something, kill it, and immediately be ramped.
I've been talking first a lot. Someone else take a crack
I
at
mean-
I think it's
okay.
not good.
Yeah, I think it's probably bad, but that's only because I just think bounties are probably bad.
There's
They
just so
take
many
too long to
ways.
set up.
Yeah, there's just like okay, like at best it's like a 2-cost resupply, but like it might not be a 3-cost resupply. It might never be a resupply. Like, it might just be
Yeah.
like they
You
are
definitely
like
don't want to see it late.
And like, the
what if
problem
they
is you
just make
can't
that
do a
guy really
turn
good?
one. Like you can't do it turn 1 to actually ramp
right
because you got to collect
because
the
you're not
bounty.
gonna kill anything. Right?
Yeah, so like then
Uh,
you're just
Is Bosk free?
I mean, boss taps, but it's only 1
Yeah.
damage.
Yeah,
That's
but like,
one
what if
damage.
they like play a
Greedo
2/1
or
and you
something,
play this
yeah.
and kill
you
it with
know
Bosk?
really go deep.
So
Yeah, I mean, Bosk is pretty solid against Greedo. I'll say that.
Yeah.
like you could do that.
Just free
Yeah.
kill.
The other. Mm-hmm.
So is
There's just
Vader.
not that many things that have like 1 toughness. Like Greedo.
The other
is
thing you
that,
could
right?
do is like put it on some. It's a little magical Christmas land, but you could like put it on something and then ECL a super laser tech into it and just like way get ahead.
On 5? I don't know if you're ahead if you're doing that on 5.
No. What do you mean? Turn 2.
This
Price on your
resource
head.
comes into play tapped.
Turn 2. Price on your head.
Turn
Turn
4, you gotta
3.
do it.
Turn 3.
Oh, you're saying ECL the
Two-
next turn. Got
yeah,
it.
and then
Oh, my.
now you're at like 6.
Gotcha.
I think it's like maybe like a 2 of, but it is interesting. I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
Bad.
I think it'll probably end up being good if bounties are fine and there's decks that can collect bounties pretty easily. Like if there are decks that just collect bounties for basically free, then yeah, this card could be really, really good. But in a
Mhm.
vacuum, I'm not too excited to like build around it.
Even like I don't know, Green Han. Like if you like draw it late, you just turn it into one of his resources, and if you have it earlier, like plop it on there.
This is game tech.
But I don't think he's that terrible.
All right.
I'm gonna say bad. It's like it's like almost good. It's
All
like bad.
It's not bad in Green Han because you can use Han's ability to use it and put it in your resource room.
Sounds like a great use for a coaster.
I'm just saying.
All right. This is one that actually has been like pretty hotly contested. It's been out for a couple days, but we haven't talked about it. So I wanted to include Fennec Shand, the new Underworld 7-drop, yellow. Seems like a good McClunky target, by the way. She's got ambush and on attack, deal 1 damage to the defender if it's a unit for each different cost among cards in your discard pile. So she could, she's a 4/6, capable of certainly killing a bunch of things, but she will have the ability to like kill things that have a much higher health total. If there are just different costed cards in your discard pile, being able to do like 7, 8, 9 damage to something, potentially even killing Palpatine. So, is this card good, bad, or broken?
Good.
Very good and incredible with Han.
Oh yeah, kidding me?
Yeah,
This is like
that's a good-
I can't wait for Casino Han 2.0. This is.
I mean,
like,
you get to your discard pile can be whatever you want it to be,
Yeah.
Right.
cost wise.
Yep.
And then
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. That's a great point. Being able to filter your discard pile to set one of each one. That's like some old school, like Delver Magic kind of stuff.
right,
I think
like
this card
Dredge.
is-
Yeah, Dredge. Exactly.
Dredge. That's what I meant.
Yeah, Dredge.
This is what did I say? Delver. Yeah, I meant Dredge. This is really good. I think what we really struggle to find reach in HP sniping, and finally having a unit that could basically kill anything, even a Vader or a Palp, right off the bat is like pretty insane.
What's kind of neat about it
Walker,
is it's
Is she a
sort
rare or
of like an
legendary?
Avenger.
uncommon.
Yeah, draft bomb. Wow.
Yeah, it
draft.
is. It is almost like an Avenger in some ways. I get it.
Like you can pin them if you've got a lot. You can just keep pinning them, and then like if say you've got like 5 different costs, it's just gonna kill everything. And then you're just like play a card, okay, kill it the next turn, and just keep killing things.
Yeah, and if they drop 2 things, you could like play another one and just ambush it in and kill again. Like it's not slow; it's very fast. So like it behooves you to have 3 of these in your deck. I think she's.
It's
The
also
only
interesting
thing is,
for like
yeah.
mill.
people can attack into her better than a lot of other cards, but like off the top, she comes in and she might not even take damage right away because she could deal like 5 right up straight up. But like on the back end, she's an uncommon and not a legendary for a reason. Like she does have a weakness, and that's when people want to trade back into her.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she can be
Good
killing.
point.
But like in a lot of these situations, she's going to kill without taking any damage back, which is more than Vader can do. It's not unreasonable for her to trade down and kill something without taking anything back.
Yeah, I guess she's kind of like a Han.
Yeah, like
she's
she
who
strikes
isn't
first.
broken.
Yeah,
Like she's sort of like a Han. She's like another Han, and Han's one of the best cards in Han. So maybe you just having 6 Hans is like.
Yeah, it's a real testament to Yellow Hero not being good that Han is like not the best card in the game. Like a freaking
That Han is
6/6.
so good. There's so many
6/6
that just
for
never
sure.
dies, just kills everything. He's like an event.
Yeah, he is. He's really good. And the games I like get absolutely slaughtered by Han are when they like they ramp into him on like turn 3, and I'm like, oh, I guess this thing's just gonna kill everything I play. So it's a good point.
Well,
this
that
is like
brings up
another
a point,
Han.
though.
Yeah. What's up?
The fact, so because Han gets to 7 so fast, like you might not have a ton of cards in the discard pile. This is something you got to be aware of.
Yeah,
you
like
have
that
4.
turn, right?
Yeah.
Like that turn because the
next turn the 2 come in.
The next turn it would come in, right?
Yeah,
right.
the follow up turn. So it's
But yeah, you already
good,
have
yeah.
Han in your Han, so like this could be something different.
Yeah, maybe not
upset
broken.
the double
Maybe
yellows.
just
But
good.
she can go
Yeah.
bigger. Like
Good.
Han's never killing Palpatine, but she could.
She could.
Mhm.
She gets better too, like as
Yeah.
the game goes on.
All right.
I like her. Good.
This one just got dropped today.
Yeah.
Man, I can never remember how to say this guy's name. Curzanton.
Oh, we'll hear it all in the comments. Golly.
Wow,
If
that's
you
right.
just-
They're already
here's just a
commenting about
PSA
Justin
really
saying
quick.
Chilston, so that's fine.
What is his name?
Wait, can I just say something real quick?
Childson, I
If you
guess.
find yourself
It says
about
who?
to comment about a pronunciation, we don't care.
Yeah, I
Just
truly don't
save
care.
your time. Yeah, like no
I
one
just
really
I
cares.
just offered a dissertation
Write
on
it
the
down on a
McClunky
piece of
edit. I
paper.
don't need you telling me
Yeah.
what the
Yeah,
pronunciation
check your Corellian privileges. Like we don't know how these names are said on other
Yeah.
planets. How do we really know where Childston is
Yeah.
from? Chilston.
Maybe it's a
Child.
dialect.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's a
It's a
dialect
dialect
issue.
thing. You don't know how we speak on
Yeah.
Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen, I'm from Worcester. All right, we say a
You
lot
people
of
are
here.
probably saying Kashyyyk, but we say Kashyyyk because we're from here. You can't tell us we're not. All right,
Oh, you,
so
you people, Mike with the you people tonight.
we're running hot. This is what happens when we speak for over 50 minutes. This is where I get.
Yeah, it's a long one tonight.
All right, so when played, if an enemy unit has a bounty, you may ready this unit. It's a 3/7 5-drop, and then on attack, choose a ground unit. You may deal 1 damage to it for each damage on this unit. So it's sort of like a direct damage grit. He's Underworld Rookie Bounty Hunter. Another uncommon, another thing that readies itself.
and a Wookiee.
And this, readies itself when played. So it's only the one time, but I think this card's really good, and I think like a lot of cards, it's like depends on what the bounties are. You think it's broken?
Yeah. It's insane for GI. You can do, if there's a bounty, you can do like the ECL ready it thing.
Yep, that's right.
Hey,
'Cause it's a
bud.
trigger.
Jacob.
I think it's very exploitable, and
Oh yeah,
it's
so
really
the
good.
unit even has a bounty. Yeah, that's really dumb. Sorry, I missed that part. I thought about it earlier today, but I missed it on just reading it. Yeah, all you have to do is have a bounty out. That's insane.
Yeah, on the other
So-
side, yeah.
From what I'm gathering here, it sounds like if you're playing red in a 5-drop, you want to be playing this guy and not the bad Bosk.
The Bosk is the leader.
Oh,
Or he means
that's
the,
right.
or
I
you
was
mean this
thinking
Bosk?
just popping. Never mind.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this guy's okay. I mean, I think the ready unit stuff is always a little iffy for me because it's not ambush. It's like you've got that little pause in the middle.
It's slow.
Mm.
But his stat line's interesting. But
And I mean, Matt's right. Like, really good in Grand Inquisitor. Like, being able to play this guy ready and untap him, and then like he's got 7 health and he kills things when he attacks. So
And he can still attack face and then hit a unit with his on attack
right.
ability.
And then like when you untap him with Grand Inquisitor, then he's doing 2, and you do it again, and then all of a sudden he's hitting things for 4. So he can get out of hand quick. I think he's really good. Surprised he's an uncommon, to be honest.
yeah, and I'll
7
say
booty,
this:
too.
all the bounty cards right now are actually better in Grand Inquisitor than they are in like Bosk. Like
Yeah.
on the surface, right? They're all like really good.
Yeah, and
Punish-
and it's red
punishing
villain.
one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're just gonna make a we're gonna start to make our boss deck and be like, oh, we play Grand
Just do
Inquisitor
Grand
instead.
Inquisitor. Right.
Yeah.
I think this is the last one, but this is so we talk a lot about Medal Ceremony whenever we talk about free cards, and this is a 0-cost upgrade. I think it's one of 2 0-cost upgrades that have been released. One was yellow, and this is the red one. Attached unit gains bounty, deal 2 damage to a base. If this unit is unique, deal 3 damage instead. Guild target. Thoughts on this being good, bad, or broken as a free card in this game that lets you damage a base when you kill a unit?
I think it's good.
I mean, it makes sense
I
that
would-
they release it with Kurzenston, right? Like, you play this, then you get to follow up with him. You ready him. You kill the thing with his trigger ability. You're hitting their base for like 1 million in Grand Inquisitor.
Feels good. I mean,
You're doing like 9 damage potentially in 2 attacks.
I think
Great
broken. Yeah, I think free is always broken, like
Yeah.
pretty much. And I think like just as a lightning bolt, and like you think about like 4 costs 3 and does 4, and obviously like it sets up your deck and stuff like that. But I mean, you wonder if like what this looks like with ambush, and like your ambush cards are now just lightning bolting people. And like imagine this with like Steadfast Battalion being like, oh, take 9, 10, 9. That just seems really strong, and yeah, it just seems absurd with ambush. You're doing it anyway. You're just like free 3 damage. Like, but I mean, one thing I will say about this mechanics sort of sideways to this is I wonder like if you actually have to start thinking about like not playing unique units and like going with more of like, okay, like maybe I don't play red 3 anymore in Sabine, or like maybe I actually try to trim it down on some weaker unique units.
And find substitutions for them, yeah.
the only
And
thing that
you can't put these on leaders, right?
No, you can
just
put them
a
on
unit.
leaders, I think.
Yeah, anything you want. I guess the only thing is like
Oh, they don't lead
it's
play.
taking me a card to like either be a shock or a lightning bolt. Like when do I want it? When I'm developing, or like you don't want it when you're like trying to finish them off, right? Because you don't have things to kill. So it almost seems like one of those like mid towards the end of your game plan, because you get early, like when you just rather have a unit. So it is interesting, like where it slots in, what kind of style.
But I see it being really good in Cassian, where Cassian's drawing you cards. This triggers Cassian to draw more cards, and like I think card draw is at a real premium if the game slows down at all. And so like I can see these free cards, especially this one, being really good. Like imagine being like a Cassian deck that's able to draw a bunch of cards and have one explosive
because he's
turn.
fine with that.
Yeah. And then you're like,
I mean,
guild target, ambush, kill something, take 6.
Yeah, I mean, Bosk, Steadfast Battalion, take 12. That seems pretty good.
Yeah, I just more mean like you have the cards to actually play the guild targets and not be
and
dead.
Bosk does like a
that's-
ping. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I think Bosk is really.
I like the Cassian angle because like my
I
fear
did
is
say
like you
broken
have
on
this.
Bosk.
Yeah, you want this card, but then you need to commit to the board. Where it's like, yeah, you said Cassian, like you're drawing anyway, so you can play a million pumps or this kind of card because you're gonna cycle through them.
All right, we have to move on. So we're gonna do the Metal Fab token giveaway real quick.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this. Can you see my wheel of names? No, you just see. You do see the wheel of names?
I see. Click to spin. Press Control Enter.
Okay, and what do I have to do?
It's your Disney bundle.
All right, so now they can see it. So
Okay.
Matt, pick a number 1 to 7.
6.
All right, I'm gonna shuffle 1, 2.
I thought you were gonna go with 4.
5, 6. And we're gonna click the wheel, and this is gonna be the winner. It'll be stored in the annals of the internet.
God, I hope it's one of our homies.
Oh, it's Drew Wu.
Nice.
who is one
Oh
of
my
our
God,
homies.
he's nice.
He's such a
dude,
friendly
he's gonna
guy.
be
That's not how
yeah,
he
he's
spells it, but I had to type all these in manually, and I definitely went with some wild spelling. So
You
sorry.
typed in
Can we
everything
ping him in the
manually?
Discord
Yeah,
or
I
no?
had to type it in manually. I should have run a practice contest before I run an actual contest.
Yeah.
No, let's not type it in right
That's
now.
insane.
Because
Okay.
then
Yeah, wait.
we're not even posting this till Sunday.
Oh wait, shit. Okay, I gotta act like
All
I
right,
don't know.
I'm
Okay.
minimizing that so we don't think about
Gonna
it.
see
my
Drew
God.
Woo. Just like with a
I
goofy
almost
smile.
So he's
Drew
getting
Woo.
this master set, and maybe even I'm gonna try and get the guy who runs these to give him like a little set for whatever deck box he has. So I'll reach out to Drew Woo first. Congratulations, Drew Woo.
Cool.
These tokens are insane. If you haven't checked out our video with them, they're wicked awesome. I have a set. I love it. I want more. And there might be something that the guy who makes these is doing for our Patreon subscribers, but that's all I'll say about that.
That's really. I love that we're giving stuff. Like I got super nervous because I sent the foil Vader just like in a regular envelope to like Belgium or like, I was like, is this
Oh
the way
yeah,
it
the
works?
Drelek.
And the person at the post office was like, no, this is how it works. And I was like messaging him, and he posted that he got it. He was like hyped to get it. So hope we're
Nice.
still doing these.
Also, a smuggling compartment was in there in the 2-2 pump.
Yes, value.
Value Town.
Good value.
All
We
right,
need
so
to-
we're up to 581 active members in our Discord of our Patreon subscriptions, and I pulled a few questions for this. We're going to go pretty rapid fire because we're already close to an hour. But Nerd Parker, shout out to Nerd Parker, one of our Patreon subscribers, obviously, but he also runs the SWODB, which is like the most important website in the game. So what assumptions change when heading into a best of one? Because a lot of these store showdowns are best of one, not best of three.
Play
the
them.
aggro route.
Yeah.
Just go aggro, just like change the way.
That's what I would do.
Is that
Yeah.
because you think people aren't going to be able to sideboard for you? So like they're going to be caught with their pants down a lot more often?
Basically along those lines, yeah. Just being able to be the aggressor when, because like in best of threes, games 2 and game 3, you have information about the opponent's deck, right? So along those lines, with best of ones, you really won't. So I always try to err on the side of being the aggressive player because they don't necessarily know what's coming.
Yeah, I think aggro really does help in these best of ones. Like, I know when I won the case tournament, I didn't actually sideboard that much because I just felt like my game one deck was just sort of always going to do its thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't sideboard much in Connecticut either. It was like find the bad cards, put in Jabas, and just keep pushing.
The only other caveat to that I would say is like just because of like the way that a lot of the control players have said like, hey, time has been an issue, and if you're actually playing one game, like they're probably will get through that one game. I'm not 100% sure.
It's only 25 minutes for best of one round, so maybe
But then
not.
that's a concern too, so maybe
Yeah.
not. So, and then if people are even doing that, you want to be aggro against them.
Would
anyway,
you
so.
play things that like are blowouts to things that are normally fixed with sideboards, like playing things like Traitorous or Entrenched, because like they're just people aren't main decking Fang Fighter or Power
That's
Failure?
exactly
or
what I was gonna
Confiscate?
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can you play things that normally would get countered. Like we always kind of hate on like, something like a main deck Devotion or main deck Entrench on your own guy because like, yeah, it can win you game one, but can it stay throughout the whole best of three when they're able to sideboard? Now they can't. So stuff like that becomes way better. Like shout out to Loopy entrenching your freaking K2SO and just
beating people to death.
Yeah, just slapping around. That's where store showdowns come in.
All right, Doom Funk, favorite Star Wars character, and what era of that character are you most looking forward to having as a unit? Example, Episode 3 Anakin, no suit Darth Vader, post Episode 6, pre Episode 7 Luke. Do you guys have something that's like a shout out to? One of the things that Unlimited does is like pick a guy in a specific moment and make a card out of them. That's why like Han isn't a rebel. That's why Baze isn't a rebel. So like, is there like a special moment for a character that you're looking forward to?
Oh man, I'm like the worst Star Wars
my
boy.
my favorite character is definitely Chewie. I mean, my dog's named Chewbacca.
Yeah.
So.
Would it be like? Is there a specific Chewie that you like?
I like the Episode 7 scene where he's shooting the blaster, like in front of the blast doors. I really always like that, but I'd just be happy with anything that can win. Like the other Chewie that I played that you built me that time was just too slow.
Yeah. What about Chewie unit? Do you like the guy Sentinel who readies himself?
He's all right.
Yeah. You want like
I was playing him a
hammer
bit
Chewie.
in that Green Han, but he doesn't like people just play around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What
guess,
about you, Mike? You're the big Star Wars boy.
Yeah, I guess I would want something around the Obi-Wan Satine Maul sort of triangle, either like
Ooh.
the Maul who kills Satine, the one who's trying to take over Mandalore, or maybe even just like a Satine when she's fighting with Obi-Wan, or if you want to go really deep, the Obi-Wan when he's in disguise as that bounty hunter in the red Mandalorian suit. Like I love that's one of my favorite storylines, and I'd love something from there.
I think it would be cool if it's not a character, but right now the most powerful card we have is like the Devastator, but that's not like the most powerful thing in the sort of annals of Star Wars. So like the
Like a Death
Executor
Star?
or like the Death Star,
Yeah.
like there's a lot to draw on. And
Yeah,
even
yeah,
like,
The
you've
Sun
got some
Crusher.
walkers, like we haven't had like Blizzard 1 or you haven't had like Veers. Like we have Veers, but like what if there's a Blizzard 1 that like gets Veers from your deck or something like that? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like just some really cool
Mhm.
things like that. So
Yeah. Obi-Wan's
Dude,
my
I'm gonna
favorite,
throw
so
it-
I'd like something
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Obi-Wan's sick. I think I'm gonna throw it to just like a young, A
Star
New
Trek.
Hope, Luke Skywalker, like in the freaking
Mm.
X-wing, man.
In the
Yeah.
X-wing, I thought you were gonna say in the
Yeah.
Stormtrooper outfit.
Oh,
but
that would be pretty good too.
but
No,
yeah.
I'm gonna shout out to my X-wing top 16 with all the red squadron like helmets,
Red
Bust
5.
Luke
that out.
looking
Yeah,
looking
Red
at the
5.
twin suns, both at the beginning and also death, are pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
pretty
looking
dope.
forward to those.
For sure. All right, playing against Han. This is from our boy Show from Star Wars CCG days. I've jammed a pretty
okay.
good number of games now and feel like I can most identify a given deck's role or gameplay in many situations, but Han is my one blind spot. There are a few Han players in my local group, so I don't know what matters against them. Do you have any heuristics you can recommend for thinking about a matchup versus Han? So, give me one Han tip for beating Han. Mine
Play
is
force throw.
Yours is play force throw. Mine, yeah, I mean,
Just completely blows him out.
hand discard's really good against him for sure. I would say blow out his first play. Blow out the first play you can that he ramps for would be mine.
But so mine is the similar. Mike is like, don't save your ECL for max value from like the ECL decks. Like get it out early. Try to 2-unit to 0, and if you can get there, you'll be in fine shape.
I had a pretty insane play against Han in my Connecticut Top Cut, where he put down a card with Han, and I had initiative, so I attacked. He put down a card with Han, and I passed, and he passed. And I had a good feeling that he was going to pass. Like, it wasn't a terrible move for him to take my turn away, but I took his turn away and made him discard a card for nothing. So I was like,
That's sick.
He's like, I don't know if that's right, but I just felt like you shouldn't have passed. So when someone shouldn't have passed, I claim like he takes initiative or whatever.
Yeah.
So, Steve, did you have a tip?
I found you can definitely aggro against Han, or at least when I was playing Han, I always felt like a lot of the Sabine lists would just kill me before I could actually like do anything of significance. So you can definitely, I think you can aggro against it if you're going along that game plan.
Yeah, I think you just sometimes have to deal with that first play that's like buffed against you, or
Yeah,
so it doesn't
exactly.
eat your whole board or whatever.
Yep.
But then I
Right.
agree. Once you are able to handle that guy, like Justin said, use your ECL early. I think that you can push through. All right, so this is a longer one. I'm gonna paraphrase, but basically it's like when you're picking a deck for a competitive event, do you pick one that you're comfortable with? And like if you pick a deck that you're less comfortable with, like what pushes you to do that, and when do you recommend not doing that? So I guess like for me, I like to be really practiced with as many decks as I can so that I don't ever feel uncomfortable. But there are definitely some events that if I think a deck is so strong that I can actually pilot it and efficiently and win and like learn as I go, I might still do that. But I would not be going to a competitive event without a practice deck ever.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
That's a good answer.
I think
yeah.
The deck would have to be so good that like early Boba Fett where like people were reading the cards and still winning. Like, but other than that, like you're gonna get way more percentage points being comfortable and knowing things, like winning matchups that other people can't because you know the deck so well.
What about like Blue Han, Maddie?
I mean, if I wrote
He knew the deck, not the list.
down, yeah. If I wrote two
it's all.
Aztecs
The answer to
down,
this question is just step one. Write down your list correctly.
Yeah.
Now let's talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would not. Yeah, and like sometimes I'll take a list that like I played a long time ago, but still like remember the ins and outs of, and maybe I didn't get all the reps that I should have, but it's in there somewhere.
Mhm.
All right,
Right.
that is it for our Patreon questions and our schedule. Let me get off this one and go to the good one. Upcoming events. We're going to be at Gen Con. At least me and Justin are going to be at Gen Con. Steve and Matt, your I don't knows, your IDKs.
I'm very hopeful. Very, very hopeful.
Yeah, I got to figure that out because I just realized this past week that's the same weekend I was supposed to do that bike race.
Gotcha.
So I got to figure all that out if I'm still going to do that or not.
We have a 1K in June on the 22nd. I will be in Spain, but I hope you guys get to go to that one. Hopefully there's a 1K in July. There's SCG Con in June in Vegas. Justin, you going to Vegas?
Probably not.
There's a July SCG Con in Baltimore. We going to Baltimore? It's the week before Gen Con.
Maybe.
It's a probably
That's probably
not for me, but
that's a maybe.
Baltimore is pretty close. And then just store showdowns, hopefully finding some store showdowns. But I know Florida has a bunch of 1Ks coming up. I think there are 1Ks all over the place. Store showdowns are big. Check this StarWarsUnlimited.com calendar for those.
Show.
And yeah, I'm really looking forward to Gen Con. All the events got released. We'll do a deeper dive Gen Con episode in a couple weeks once I'm going to figure out all the ones that I'm doing. My guess is that they're going to do a prize wall with prize tickets for based on record at those because it's all 4-round Swiss events. So let's hope for a good prize wall so we can get some exclusive mats. And
yeah, that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'm excited for the new set. Gen Con will be on the new set, but I would like to pilot some yellow boba and win a store showdown potentially, or maybe take something spicy.
I like it.
Exciting
A lot of good stuff up ahead, and a new set.
Nice.
Spoilers have been dope. Can't wait to play it.
Yeah,
and I get a free box from y'all. What up?
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Soon.
Well, I'm not going to forget not writing down 2 Aztec, so you know what? Give me something here.
Sounds good.
Small wins.
All right.
We didn't go too much over an hour. You guys have anything else you want to say before we go?
No, good job to all our Patreons. Good talking to you guys as always. Congrats, Mike. Going to card events is so freaking fun. It makes being out of that. Like, it was a 14-hour day, and I would do it again and again. It's longer than that, actually.
I only got stronger. I was so happy to be back.
Yeah.
It just like every round I was like, we're back, baby.
Getting food and drinks with everyone after and like celebrating. Oh my God, that's what it's all about. It's like I could relive that day so many times and I'd be happy.
We back.
The deck list.
All right.
The deck list over and over again.
Yeah, Mike won. It's all good.
Yes,
what did we say? Team over everything.
Boom. All right.
I gotta go to bed.
GG's.
Same.
See ya.